Welcome to the Arsenal The Gunners. The summer of 2025 was already buzzing with Premier League transfer drama when Arsenal quietly made their first approach for Eberechi Eze. Rumours had been swirling for weeks, whispers in the media suggesting that Mikel Arteta wanted an extra creative force in midfield to ease the burden on Martin Ødegaard. Eze, then at Crystal Palace, had just come off a stellar season where he scored 10 goals and assisted 8, becoming the beating heart of Palace's attack. Arsenal's recruitment team had been tracking him for months. Edu Gaspar, the sporting director, had attended 2 Palace matches in person, noting not just Eze's technical skill, but also his work ethic and ability to change a game with a single dribble. In Arteta's mind, he was exactly the kind of player who could unlock low-block defences that had frustrated Arsenal in the previous season. The first contact. On June 12th, Edu placed the call to Palace chairman Steve Parish. The opening bid was reported to be $45 million plus $5 million in performance-related add-ons. Palace, aware of Eze's importance to their squad, rejected the offer almost immediately, insisting they valued him closer to $65 million. Negotiations began in earnest over the following days. Eze, who had grown attached to Palace, was nonetheless intrigued by the opportunity to play Champions League football and compete for major trophies. His agent met with Arsenal representatives in London, where they discussed contract terms. A 5-year deal worth $140,000 per week, with performance bonuses tied to assists, goals, and appearances. Media frenzy. By late June, the story had exploded in the press. Sky Sports, BBC Sport, and The Athletic all ran headlines about Arsenal's determined pursuit of Eze. Pundits debated whether he could adapt to Arteta's high-intensity style. Former Arsenal legend Ian Wright publicly endorsed the move, saying, "Eze's flair and composure on the ball are exactly what we need. He's got that spark, that ability to make something happen out of nothing." Fans on social media were split. Some questioned the price tag. Others were already imagining the combinations between Eze, Bukayo Saka, and Gabriel Jesus. The hashtag #JarkWelcomeEze began trending even before the deal was finalised. The breakthrough. The turning point came on July the 2nd, when Palace reluctantly agreed to Arsenal's improved offer of $55 million plus $7 million in achievable add-ons. The agreement was reached after a meeting in a central London hotel, attended by Edu, Arteta, Parish, and Eze's representatives. Palace secured a 10% sell-on clause, ensuring they'd benefit from any future sale. That night, Eze spoke to Arteta over the phone. The conversation reportedly lasted 45 minutes, with Arteta explaining his tactical vision, how Eze would fit into Arsenal's midfield rotations, and the club's plan to challenge Manchester City for the title. By the end of the call, Eze's decision was made. He wanted to be a gunner. Medical and signing. On July 4th, Eze arrived at Arsenal's London Colney training ground for his medical. Dressed casually in a black hoodie and trainers, he smiled for photographers as he entered the facility. The medical lasted several hours, involving routine scans, strength tests, and fitness assessments. Everything went smoothly. By the afternoon, Arsenal's media team had begun filming his announcement video. Wearing the 2025-26 home kit, Eze dribbled a ball under the bright studio lights, then looked into the camera and said, "North London, let's make history together." The clip would later go viral, amassing millions of views on Instagram and Twitter. Official announcement. On July 5th at 10:00 a.m., Arsenal's official social media accounts dropped the news. "Welcome to Arsenal, Eberechi Eze." The club's website described him as a player of exceptional vision, balance, and creativity, capable of unlocking any defence. Edu added in the statement, "Eze is not just a great footballer, he's the right character for our dressing room. We can't wait to see him thrive here." Fan reactions. Outside the Emirates, supporters gathered to take pictures with the giant digital screen displaying Eze's image. The Arsenal store saw a rush of fans buying shirts with Eze 19 printed on the back. Interviews with fans revealed high expectations. With him, Ødegaard and Saka, we've got the best creative midfield in the league. I can't wait to see his skills on a Champions League night. first training sessions. When Easy joined pre-season training, his quality was obvious. In small-sided games, he glided past defenders, delivering quick passes and sharp turns. Arteta often stopped drills to highlight Easy's positioning, using him as an example of how to break defensive lines with movement. Declan Rice was particularly impressed, telling reporters, "Ebbs has that ability to slow the game down in his head, while everyone else is rushing. That's rare." Debut match Easy's debut came in the Emirates Cup against Sevilla. The crowd roared as he stepped onto the pitch in the 65th minute. Within 10 minutes, he produced a magical assist, nutmegging a defender before slipping a perfect through ball to Gabriel Jesus, who slotted home. The stadium erupted, and chants of "Eze, Eze" filled the air. Early impact. By the start of the Premier League season, Eze had already built strong chemistry with Saka and Martinelli. In his first 3 league games, he recorded 2 assists and scored a goal, a curling 20-yard strike against Wolverhampton that made the highlight reels. Arteta praised his adaptability, noting how quickly he had learned the pressing triggers and defensive responsibilities. Why the transfer mattered for Arsenal, the signing of Ease was more than just adding another talented player. It was a statement of intent. Proof that the club could attract top-level Premier League talent in their prime years. It also gave Arteta more tactical flexibility, allowing him to rotate Odegaard, Havertz and Easy depending on the opposition. For Easy, the move represented the biggest challenge of his career. He now had the chance to test himself at the highest level, compete for titles and represent Arsenal in Europe's elite competition. The road ahead. As the season unfolded, the story of Easy's transfer continued to be told in fan forums, news columns and television debates. Every dribble, assist and goal reminded supporters why Arsenal had fought so hard to bring him in. Whether he would go on to become a club legend remained to be seen, but the foundations had been laid for something special. In North London, under the bright lights of the Emirates, Eberechi Eze was ready to write the next chapter of his footballing journey.